Hi everyone, and welcome to the Digital Open Days by POLI.design, a society founded by Politecnico di Milano that today will present you its first level specializing masters and higher educational courses. I would like to remind you that at the end of the presentation of the master, there will be a Q&A moment, so you can ask everything you want in the chat, and also, of course, here in person for who is here. The next master that we will present is a master in design for architecture. And we're here with the director of the master, Professor Matteo Ingaramo. So welcome, and I leave you the floor.
Thank you, Martina. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening or good morning for the one that are not here in my country. Design for architecture is a master that is created to combine the polytechnical disciplines around the design, architecture, and engineering. The point is that we would like to merge, first of all, the approaches of each one of the polytechnical disciplines in order to get contemporary approach to architecture that will deal not only with the traditional tools for architects, but also with the typical tools of design regarding not only the aesthetics or the usability of products or manufacturers to say, but also to the fact that each one of the manufacturers that we design are made as a part of a value system that is technical, value system that is economical, is social, is made of users, and is made of time and processes that are making very strictly part of the architectural process so far. So if we look at architecture and design in a large scale, at a global scale, we could find that the profession of architects and designers are more related to big operations that are about real estate or related to offices, building, or flagship stores, or the buildings and in general the real estate that is related with brands and service company that are dominating the scene of architecture in terms of quality of construction, in terms of quantity of construction, in terms of processes and scheduling of construction. The point is that the Italian architecture and design was born in an environment of quality, in a context of quality that is evolving through the contemporaneity in a kind of duality. From one hand, we have the aesthetical quality of buildings. On the other hand, we have the process and economics qualities. The design approach is always merging those two aspects. And our objective is to teach to students that would like to experiment the architecture, considering the buildings, architectural manufacts that has to respond to deal with an holistic approach that is integrating all the aspects of a value chain. The professional outcomes that we look for in order to teach, of course, are persons that would like to be part of an architectural process in which technology, usability, aesthetics, and in general the value building are important. In terms of technology, in terms of designing of parts, in terms of providing to the quality of the architecture all the elements that are typically designed for serial products. The structure of the course, in order to get these ambitious objectives, the structure is made by 4 pillars. Design culture, first of all, because the design culture is more focused on the production and on the products, or the services and the strategical aspects of the manufacturing and the providing of services. So we would like to introduce architects to this knowledge, to this culture, even historical, and to drive them through the second pillar, that is the design strategy. Design strategy is influencing all the value chain, and is not that common in architectural knowledge, just because the architectural knowledge taught at school is usually focused on aspects that are related to the quality of the building, and not that much to the integrated aspects that are evident, but normally delegated to other skills, like engineering or like management and technology research. Design technology, in terms of not only in terms of knowledge about materials or material science or processes of construction, but for sure about the technology culture, that is about disproving the potential of some materials, of some processes of transformation of materials in order to get new design possibilities and new aesthetics or new functionalities that are very typical for the design, industrial design, I would say. The fourth pillar is about design seminars and studio. Seminars are contribution of a large scale of topics. They would come from professional experience. They would come from complementary and integrable disciplines that could be useful in order to understand that holistic approach. Then on the other side, we have the design studio, is the practicing part of this master course that will be driven in parallel with the theoretical structure of the teaching hours. In terms of modules, as you can see there, we following the four pillars, of course. We have modules about history of design and architecture, product design language, that is helping you to have a language that is related to technical aspect, but also to the real estate common, let's say, way to express yourself that are not the typical of architects. Design and contemporaneity, that's a part that is letting our students to be inserted in a context of design culture that is changing every day, and is in Milan presenting a lot of offering a lot of chances to go for the limits, to the limits of our discipline. Design strategy, design and innovation theory and methodology, and design strategy applied to the value system. Both of them will be offered in general terms, but also applied to the architectural issues. Design technology, as I was saying, material technology, manufacturing, and the technology of the built environment, in order to focus on the potentiality of each material, but also to consider buildings as machines that have an efficiency, also, of course, related to not only to their usability and disfruitment of the built environment, but also in terms of sustainability, or even more corresponding to the value creation that is expected by our committers or clients. Design seminars and studios, seminars delivered by external contributors that are outstanding in terms of case histories, and the design studio that are parallel to the theory activities in class. Our final aim, our main aim, is to train professionals that are skillful and developing high quality projects in the field that ranges over the architectural layout. and the efficiency of the building components. As I was saying, our approach is integrated and holistic in terms of considering that if we could build a building, that's not enough in a competitive market, not only in terms of architect competition, but also in terms of building offer, and related to the fact that buildings are not anymore permanent, but they are very temporary, and the needs of the users are changing every day, asking on the market different solutions that could fit with small small times or short times, or with changing situations that could make the architecture more flexible and designed for it. The master has also the objective of completing the training of designers, extending their expertise and problem-solving skills with the culture and tools typical of industrial design. The point is that we would make our students to merge the two cultures of origin, architecture and design, and trying to run experimentations about industrial design on the architectural tools. The majority of our students are coming from architectural disciplines, and they are challenged to experiment the industrial design approach, and in general, the product design approach or service design approach. Calendar, we start in November 2023. We will end on July 2024. We will start with a strong shot of theory in order to create a basis of culture that we could share, and in order to merge people coming from design culture with people coming from architectural culture. Then we will run some exercises in class. They will be with an increasing complexity, trying to take on board of the exercise all the elements that are taught during the year. More or less 8 months of teaching in class. Then our students will be free of making their experience about the internship. As you can see here in the slide, you are asked to make 480 hours of internship in a company or in a design studio that will be hopefully identified in the range of the connections of POLI.design in the Italian territory, but not only if you are available to go abroad or on a long distance experience. We make not only teaching in class, as I was saying, we make design studio. That is a practical activity, practicing activity in class, but we have seminars contributions that will be in presence, not only in class, maybe visiting our seminars contributors, or they could be blended because of the fact that some of the contributors are far away and we would like to invite them without losing their availability, and so we invite them from remote. Seminars are not that long, they could be 1 hour or 2 hours of teaching hours. Then on-site visits, we would like our students to have an experience, an Italian, or I would say even more Milanese experience about the context of one of the design capital all over the world. So that's why we program visits that are destinated to visit studios, big and small, outstanding architectural and design studios, but also to visit museums and to experiment the design week and some other opportunities that are related to every year programming. The weekly commitment is 4 days a week, so it's quite intensive. We leave the rest of the days not only for leisure, of course, but in order to make individual study hours. and to integrate your knowledge, even visiting or experimenting other sources of knowledge that in Milan are very, let's say, often available. Final examination will be held within 8 months, starting in January 2025. That time is flexible depending on the time of accomplishment of the internship mandatory hours that are, as I was saying, 480. So it will be decided and it will be communicated to the class when almost all the internships will be ended. Sometimes it happens that we have 2 different dates because of 2 different contingents of students that are making the internship in different periods. Here you have some administrative and operative informations. Formal requirements to the applications are the CV, a motivation letter, and a clear portfolio, even selected. You don't have to list all your work, just select some of them that are representing clearly what you're good in and which kind of experience did you already make. Of course, we need a copy of your ID card if you are EU citizens, or passport, of course, if you are not EU citizens. We need a copy of your bachelor degree and a copy of your university transcript. Those elements are all mandatory in order to get an admission. Polytechnic of Milan will analyze your bachelor degree and its compatibility with the enrollment to this master. Then the curriculum vitae, the motivation letter, and the portfolio will be analyzed and assessed by our offices. Then you will be asked to make a final interview in order to be definitively admitted. The admission requirements are almost the same of every master here at Politecnico. Specializing master candidates need to get a Bachelor of Science or a Master of Science in disciplines that we call polytechnical, so engineering, architecture, or design. For foreign applicants, equivalent academic qualifications will be considered in the related study systems. Applications will be processed and accepted in chronological order until the number of available places will be reached. The number of admitted students is 20. It happens that we select less. It happens that sometimes we admit 1 or 2 more, depending on the quality of the candidates, but also on the balance between the different backgrounds and the different quality of the students. Selection will be made by the master board. The master board will be directed by me and the scientific director of the master. We have 4 other members that would make part of the selection board. Finally, the tuition fees. The tuition fees for this master is 12,000 euros. Then are divided in 400 euros given to Politecnico of Milano for the enrollment fee, and the rest is your attendance fee. I think that's all. Thank you all for listening to me. I'm always available for further information, but maybe we have some questions.
Yes, we have. But at first, I asked to the people who are here if they have any question. So if not, I start to read those in the chat room. So the first one is to give us an example of briefs carried out during the workshop activities. An example of brief.
We were designing temporary houses for the Expo when Expo was held in Milan. We were designing the layout and the construction techniques for America's Cup Sailing Cup base. We were designing floating houses in an Italian lake that was related to a cultural yearly cultural congress that was held in a so small city that they needed more or less 500 more houses. So we were designing those floating houses that were temporary and disposable during the winter. Those are three examples.
Okay. So the next one is, will students have the possibility to have visits in companies?
Yes, it is possible. It's depending by the briefs that we get during the year. For example, another exercise that we made this year was held in partnership between us, Mario Cucinella School of Sustainability. Mario Cucinella is an architect with its own studio that is one of the biggest in Italy. Then the brief was about the sensorial life of the cities, and we were collaborating with the BMW Sound Design Lab. So we had to visit the BMW, the car constructor, and the SOS School of Sustainability in the Mario Cucinella studio. Then we had part in our classroom. So it depends, but we go out of the class as much as possible in order to experiment the culture that is available in the event, of course.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question. Uh, it's a complicated question, so let's go for steps.
If we can do it.
Okay. Which is the percentage of architects compared to designers? Is it half and half or more designers? And then there's
Usually it's reverse. I would say that 60-70% of the class are architects and the rest are designers.
okay, because the next part of the question was, I'm an architect, so I would like to understand if it is more suitable for designers or also for architects.
Honestly, the introduction, so strong introduction of the design culture on the architectural background is the one that makes more changes and gives more, let's say, upgrading and updating of an architect culture. So from my side, according to our experience, being architect is getting more advantages than being designers. That could be very good for designers that they don't have any culture about interior design, but they are very focused on product design. So if they want to extend their skills about spaces and lifestyle in the spaces and living the spaces, that could be. We make always team of work in class that are heterogeneous. So the typical team is about having 3 architects and 2 people coming from design disciplines, but never forget that we have also civil engineers and material science engineers that are asking us. They are not so frequent, but they were enrolled, and the experience was very good.
Perfect, because you answered to the next question that was, could also an engineer with a major in materials take part to the selection?
It could be. It could be. It's interesting for you, and it is interesting for us because the contamination in class is very expected by us. But the point is that you could start with some gaps. So my point is that I warmly suggest you to read some book and to um, continue that acculturation during the master in order to fill the gap as much as possible and feel in comfort as much as possible during the master.
Okay, so thank you very much, Professor Ingaramo, for presenting the content aspects and also the objectives of the master. And I also thank you all for staying with us. And please follow also the next presentation.
Thank you very much.